Hi everyone, welcome to yet another edition of Let's Talk Design. Thank you all for joining us today. We have a very special guest for us. I'm just waiting for them to join in. We'll be talking about stone as a key attribute in interior spaces, and we have with us, I'm just going to allow the guests to come in and then we'll start shortly. Thank you all. Hi,
Hello.
Hi, Tanya. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yes, very
Thank
well.
you. Good.
Thank
Yes. Are we audible? Are we good enough?
Yes, all good. I hope you can hear me and you can see
Yes.
me and we're all balanced and we can just straight away start. Thank
Yes.
you,
Just,
firstly, for
just
joining.
give me 1 minute.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so firstly, thank you for being a part of the A-class series on Let's Talk Design. Today, we'll be talking about stone as a key attribute in interior spaces. And I'll just firstly like to introduce you all, you both to the audience. So we have with us U&I Designs. We have Aniket and Sonal, who are both founders and creative head at UN Design. Aniket Bafna is the founder and of UNI Design, which was founded in 2016. It has since then been a pioneer in visionary interior design, blending rich craftsmanship and functionality to create timeless spaces. Sonal Mutha is a creative head at UNI Design, and she aims to create conventional ideas of luxury to cater to modern, novel notions of comfort and self-expression. At UNI Designs believes in creating refreshingly unique and tailor-made interior spaces that transform life. Their ethos is clear and straightforward, interpreting the client's style and translating it into a seamless journey from concept to completion. So that's a very, very simple and articulate sort of introduction that
Thank you so
your
much. Thank you so much for
your
introducing
firm
us.
also represents. So I'm really glad that I have you here with us today. We have a few short questions for you before we open up the conversation for the audience, and then they will be. If there are any questions from there, we'll take those on. We try and keep the session to about less than 30 minutes, if that's okay with you. And yeah.
No. Yes. I think, yeah. Thank you so much for having us here. Yes.
It's an absolute pleasure. So, my first, I mean, we've seen your work and, we went through your ideology, the manifesto, as well as, what projects you do. We've seen that in all your projects, there is some innovation, something unique. And your manifesto also clearly says that, right? There's something unique that you bring into every space that you design. How do you manage that?
Uh, innovation, right? How we manage that is pretty simple. I just tell you what happens, the process. We first meet the clients. We try to understand the problems that they face on a day-to-day life. And our main focus, our first focus is finding a solution to the problem.
Right.
And when you aim at finding the solution, right, and keeping yourselves updated with the materials and day-to-day materials that go out, I think you're already on the path to to innovate, right? A very good example is like the different materials being used in different spaces of the house,
Right.
right? I can't use a porous material, say in the kitchen, right? I'm trying to focus at what our clients are telling us to find the solution to their problems. That's something I would like to say. Another thing, I mean, I don't know. I mean, most of it would know, but I'm not an architect by profession, right? So I'm not limited to boundaries when I have to ask the questions out to the vendors and the skilled labor. So I don't mind being as silly as possible when I have to ask any kind of questions. Yeah. So when I do that, I learn a lot.
Yeah.
We learn a lot together, and what happens then is we at least know what cannot be done,
Right.
right? And when we know that, we get so many different ideas to innovate, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. No, I think there's probably a lag, but don't worry about it.
Okay, okay.
No, I can hear you. Don't worry.
All right, all right. Perfect. So yes, I think what Aniket said was very well put. So what we do is we study the material. We study the material extensively. We ask a lot of questions, be it our contractors or the laborers who are working on site. We try to get a lot of knowledge from them. Of course, they are the best people because they are working with that material day in and day out, right? So, being with them, just asking them a lot of questions, we get an insight into what's lagging, what are the limitations that we need to look at. And once we know what are the limitations of a certain kind of material, that's when I think we start thinking diversely. We start thinking in a lot of parallel how to achieve a particular thing that we would have thought of in our designs, right? So I think that's one very it's a very natural organic way of leading to any innovation is just studying about the material and knowing its limitations. Yeah.
So what we're trying to say is, by default, both of us are very curious, inquisitive
Yes.
about every step, right? Every day is a new day, and we want to learn a lot. So that kind of helps. Yes.
Okay, great. So, since we're talking about innovation and we're talking about A-class, what are the innovations that you've done in Stone?
Tanya, when we talk about innovations, right? If there's something that you're looking at which is new to you, I mean, you've spoken to so many of them. I don't think we've done anything like that, which is nobody's heard of. But what we try to do is get into different patterns in a in an innovative way. Different patterns, different textures, different materials. Right now, like I mentioned, we want to do different things. We want to do different things. I mean, we unconventional things is what we want to do.
There's a bit of a
Need
lag.
luxury.
Are you able to?
Yeah, don't worry about the lag. The session gets recorded, so it's fine. Don't worry about the
I
lag.
think
Okay.
you're breaking out too.
We should just
Sorry?
continue, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should just continue. Don't worry
We
about the
couldn't
lag.
hear you.
As long as can you hear me now? I'll be closer. Is that better?
Yes. Yes, better. Much better.
Yeah.
Much better.
Okay. I'm closer now. So, you do a lot of luxury homes, right? How do you think stone helps or contributes in creating a visual impact?
A lot of luxury homes,
It's
not
not-
really. Yeah, we are
Then
getting
we need
there.
to tap into.
Yeah, we started. It's a very relative term, luxury, right? So we are doing a few homes, yes. Creative visual impact, right? I mean, stone being a natural. I mean, I specifically talk about stone. Stone being a natural element, it by default imparts a very timeless vibe to the entire space, timeless appeal to the entire space, and using the right stone, the right material at the right place, and with the skilled labor, I think you can do a fantastic job in that space. How to use it and where it's going to be cladded or on the horizontal surfaces, you can do wonders. So when and the stones which they come with grains and veins and different surfaces and textures, right? They by default they're meant. I think they're meant to have a visual impact.
Yeah, totally agree. So the grains and the characteristics of each of the stones are so different. They're so gorgeous in its raw format itself. I think even without sort of doing any kind of treatment or doing any kind of say combining them with materials, I think as is in the raw format, they themselves do so much of a visual impact. But speaking otherwise, if you really want to get an impact in terms of stone, I think the second attribute we would look at is probably the color. We would try to play around with colors based on what is the kind of mood that we are trying to set in the space, right? When we do the mood boarding, of course, there's a lot of color palette that we start playing around in the beginning stages itself. So that's one thing where I think we could bring in that kind of visual impact. And of course, not always are we lucky enough to play with scale and grandeur because budget, of course, is a constraint that creeps in. But in what we believe is to really give a visual impact, to have a visual impact, it doesn't have to be voluminous. The scale doesn't have to be really grand, but what we could perhaps do is combine it with different materials and use the material itself very differently. So say we use stone differently in combination with, say, wood, or in combination with metal, in combination with brass putties, or have maybe grooves, or have a ribbed marble cladding, right? And play around with lights, see how it plays around with natural lights. The place where we are going to mount that, use that material, how natural light or how any kind of artificial light is playing around with it. I think that, of course, is something that creates a visual impact. And when it's not in a very large space, if it's only a smaller space, and then I think what creates the impact, the visual, I could say, the visual interest, what catches interest is maybe the details that we give to that product that creates that kind of a drama that we're looking at.
Yes.
Interesting, very interesting.
Yeah, there's one thing I would like to add on to this is it's just not the stone. I mean, of course, it has by default about the power to stand out, but it's also how you use it, right? What's around it, the amount of light falling on it, the flooring, the furniture around it, the walls. I can't take a good piece of stone and just have it on the wall and make and expect to leave a visual impact. It's togetherness of the entire space, right? So, and yeah, I think.
Yeah, how cohesively the whole space turns out to be, how other things impact that particular material in question, how it's placed around in your design, in your space. I think that is what would create your visual impact.
Right. So we've also seen in your projects, and you also mentioned that you use a lot of patterns and textures, right? When it comes to stone. So how do you think patterns and textures help in sort of, celebrating design? And if you could share some examples of, where you have used stone sort of in different textures or patterns, what has worked, what hasn't worked for you?
Definitely, yes. See, our world, designers, is a very sensorial world. It's more of touch, right? And imagine you walk into a room and there's let's say a upholstered chair or a wallpaper or a wall covering, right? What's the first thing that anyone would like to do? And that person would like to touch it, to feel it, to understand what it feels like. Is it soft? Is it warm? Is that a texture? Is it rugged? It helps him complete that perception that he has or she has about that material, right? That's how that you can imagine how important the texture and surface of any material is, right? Even when it comes to stone, a natural cleft finish, a polished finish, the finish itself can define the entire theme of the house, right? For example, different finishes that we've used, the polished finish for the granite, right? The having grooves, having flutes on the wash basin countertops, right?
Yeah.
Something like that, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think textures and the surfaces, the way the surfaces are finished, speak a lot about the space. As in, even when we are starting to mood board, even when we get into a space and we, it organically sort of comes to us as in given a design style in mind, we would like to have a certain kind of finish to sort of complete that look. Right, and so I think the finishes and the textures are really important in that way. And of course, if we are entering a room that's sort of flat, right, there's no dimension to the whole space because all the surfaces are of the same finish. We wouldn't want to do that. We would want it to be a little tactile in nature, right? So we would like to experiment with different finishes just to give the whole room, just to spruce it up a bit, to give a kind of a dimension to the whole space. So speaking of that, I think how we have used stone or any other material, stone I would specifically say is the kind of finishes like Aniket spoke about. There is one sort, we have tried to sort of finish just to give that kind of a contrast, to achieve that sort of a balance, right? So I think, yeah, this is how we have used it. And again, ribbed, the grooves and the flutes, they add a totally new different dimension to the whole space, right? They sort of speak three-dimensionally. So
Right.
that's a few ways in which I think textures are so important to create the final look of your space.
Agreed. Completely agree. Completely agree.
Yeah.
So, to enable these patterns and textures and the innovation really, what are the qualities that you look for when you're picking up stones for your projects?
The qualities, even before the qualities, we try and understand, have them placed, which space of the house.
Right.
And in that room, in that space,
Yeah.
where exactly are we going to use a stone? Right? Horizontal surfaces, vertical surfaces.
Right.
And as what are we going to use that stone?
Right.
As flooring, as a shelf, or as a wall decor. It could be anything. We need to
Right.
figure that out first. And we do that with the mood board happening in the first place. Having figured that out, when we step out, hunting for the right stone, right material for the house, the first thing that we do is respect the client's budget. We have to keep that in mind, right? I can't just go out and go crazy. I have to keep that in mind, and we respect that, the budget of the client. After that, the color of the stone is what we try to look at first. If it's a dark space, I cannot have a dark stone,
True.
right? I have to go. And if you use a stone, what I'm trying to say is, if you use a stone as a contrasting approach, right, you can do wonders in that space. And the next thing is the types of the grains that they have, the veins. Right now, you might, of course, that the limestone comes with natural fossil fragrance or band of colors. That plays a very important factor. That could play a very important factor for us to select or not select that stone. The texture of the stone, the porosity, the density, things like that. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I think to add on to it, I think technically speaking, when we speak of stone per se, I think there are a lot of parameters that we need to look at. Of course, starting from where we are going to use the stone. Say if it's being used for a countertop, we need to see how heat resistant would the stone be, the particular stone in question. What would the porosity be? But because if I'm using it for a countertop, I would want to use something that is non-porous or something that can be sealed really well, because otherwise that would be prone to stains. So porosity is one, and also we will look at how brittle or how hard that particular stone would be. Say if I'm trying to clad it on a wall, if I'm trying to put it on the floor, I'll have to see what kind of traffic goes on, right? So all these are, I think, a lot of things that we need to look at as a whole to sort of select or pick a particular stone, apart from the color, the grains, the veins, the kind of patterns that it's creating. If I'm looking at a larger space, right, if maybe I would go with a stone that has some prominent characteristics to it, so that is the thing that's called out, that's what you focus on. But if it's a compact space, I wouldn't want to use something with too much grains or too many patterns happening, right? Because I would want to keep it sort of clear, because it's a compact space again. So my natural inclination would be towards stones with spread out veins, stones with lighter colors, and those kind of characteristics are what I look at. And in general, to pick any kind of material, it's not only stone, to pick any kind of material, I think there are a lot of parameters that we will be looking at. The material specific parameters. Now, suppose if I'm just doing even a fabric or an upholstery, right? According to my space, I would like to see the feel of it, the weight of it, the silhouette, the way it sort of falls into my space, and the kind of drama it creates into the space. So for every material, I think there are a lot of specific characteristics that we need to look at, and which actually is dictated from where that material is going to be used.
Right. That's a very interesting point. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, whether it's minimal design, bold design, colors, textures, trends in interior design are constantly evolving. We all know that, and especially clients that come to you, I want this because it's trending. So, some things are, of course, timeless, and stone is also, one of them. So, what do you think are, current trends when it comes to stone and interior design?
I think trend is again a very personal thing. Things that might just come and go, but
Yes.
it has to also be very functional in a way to the client as to how the client would be using that space. right? I cannot give something that's in trend just because it's in trend and it's not useful to the clients. And also, I think a biggest reason why stone is called timeless and it's so classic is because of the way it sort of ages. Of course, time and again, it needs a little bit of maintenance, but the way a stone is durable, it lasts really long, and the way it ages, I think these attributes totally bring out the timelessness in the space. Speaking of the current trends, we are not really trend followers as such. We try to amalgamate the kind of function that it's being used for. But I think what we have really been seeing these days is how stone, any kind of stone, has been fluted and carved out, and have these kind of rich patterns, and the way they are being combined with different materials. Like we have seen how marble, when we talk about flooring, how marble or a stone is laid out seamlessly with wood, right? How they have been combined with metal. So these are the things that have been, of course, that was something I think we would have seen back then also. But I think, yeah, currently that's one trend that is totally catching on, where a combination of metal and combination of wood is being used with stone. And apart from that, I think when we speak of stone per se, I know terrazzo is just a composite, but I think that's a rage. That's a rage in the current day.
Right. I agree. I think I also heard a lot of people say.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Given the varieties that everybody's coming with, the color options, the size of the chips that are inside, I think it's a beautiful material to play around with.
It is, yes.
Agreed. So, this was really, really insightful. Last two questions. One is, if there was one stone that would resonate with your personalities, right? Both of you individually, what would that stone be?
I wish I could say diamond, but I'm not going to say. No, I would resonate with my personality. I mean, we've not. I would say Satvario. It just because it's one stone, we feel, or I feel, it blends in with at least majority of the designs, and for some reason it looks classic. I would say Satvario. Yeah. What do you think?
Resonates with my personality. Mm-hmm. Okay, in terms of color, I think if I have to pick a stone, it would be either a grey marble, because I think somewhere there are shades, there are tones of me, there are sides of me that isn't really put out to the world. There's a lot of, I'm not an open book, so there's a lot of layers beneath it. So I think I would pick that.
We should have a separate
You
conversation.
made her accept this. You have made her accept this.
No, I think this needs
To be
another
honest,
live session.
to be honest.
This needs another live session. This conversation.
Definitely, yes.
Right, yeah.
Okay, great. Very interesting. And last words, always, since the series is called Let's Talk Design, if you had to leave our audience with one statement on Let's Talk Design, what would that be?
Hashtag Let's Talk Design. What I would want to tell the audience is, be unafraid. Don't be afraid to try, to experiment when it comes to designing. Don't be afraid to fail. I mean, yeah, keep trying, keep experimenting. Yes.
I would actually like to answer that for him. I would say hashtag Let's Go Crazy, because I think that's what he believes in. He would ask like a million questions to our contractors, and he would just try to do everything possible. And I think that's how, going back to the first question that you asked about innovation, I think that's how it leads to any sort of newness in the design. So I think be unafraid, and yeah, I think there's no substitute to learning as such, which I always believe in. So that would be like a takeaway for me, yeah. And for everybody, yeah.
I'm just curious.
Super interesting. Let's talk design and let's go crazy.
Let's go crazy.
True.
Yes. I've been curious. I mean, I know it's a little off topic, but I mean, we've seen quite a few, IGTVs. I mean, you're wonderful, right? So I just wanted to ask you, if you had to pick a stone, which that resonates with your personality, what would that be?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm very curious. Right? Now you can imagine the
the
kind of questions that I ask the team. I mean,
I did not expect this
I
today.
didn't. I'm sorry, I
I
lost you.
haven't thought about it, but I know I've thought about this. I said I did not expect this today, but it's interesting to be at the other end. Uh, I think I am. I would have two favorites. I would say. So I definitely. I've always, even when I was studying architecture, I'm an architect too, right? So even when I was studying architecture, I always loved Jaisalmer. Okay, so I love Jaisalmer as a stone. Yeah, I love it in all its versions of
Beautiful.
teak and whatever. I love Jaisalmer. So I think that is something. I don't know how much of it. It's just something very warm. So as a stone, it gives me a very warm vibe. So I like that. Uh, I also think gray stones. I'm generally attracted to gray stones. I don't know if it's to do with personality. I haven't given it that much thought like you have. But I think all gray stones, I mean, in my own house, I'm very, very biased towards gray spaces.
Great.
So I think there's not one stone, and I am not as informed as you all are. You are all the experts. So yeah, yeah, that's what I would say resonates with me.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah, but thank you. It was a very fun conversation. I
Thank
think
you.
I did not read out any of the questions earlier, but most of the comments in the group below are much needed conversation. Love your designs, great going, very helpful session. So thank you. You guys have really sort of had a very fun session for our audience today. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure speaking to both of you.
Thank you so much for
And
having us.
sorry, just one last thing. A-Class celebrated 50 years of being in the industry last year. And as a thank you gesture for being a part of this journey and for being a part of this series, they'll be planting a tree on your behalf. And you'll be getting a certificate. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
thank you
really
very much. Thank you very much. And stay safe. Stay safe
You
and
too.
do really well. Yeah. Thank you.
you too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in, everybody.
Yeah. Bye.